Hello and welcome to that Peter Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch. I've got Chris Stark and the Notorious S.I.D. It's with us. And another great guest, a good friend of ours, Mr. Shaun Wright Phillips. All good, mate? All good?
What's going on?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, you?
Yeah, I'm fine. More better now that I'm here with you guys.
Yeah, well, no, it's great to have you on the podcast. Shit, you're about to hear a lot of weird stuff. I have to warn you. I don't know if you get a chance to listen to it much or if you're this is your first experience of it. You can be honest.
No, this is my first experience of it. I've listened to bits and bobs of it. I've listened, to be honest, more to Crouchy's wife's podcast than the other one.
Right.
SWP's coming in hot.
It's San Marino's pod.
San Marino away.
It's all good.
Well,
but there's a lot of admin to get through first. Obviously, we'll come to you, talk, everything, Man City, various bits of your career, America, what some bits and pieces. Obviously, we've known each other a long time, 21s, 18s. Mm-hmm. We'll get into all of that. But first, there's a big announcement today, isn't there?
Yes. Okay, are we doing this then? Because we sort of semi-announced this before.
So the big news today is Crouchfest, the trilogy, part 3 is coming. We had The Godfather, we've had Jurassic Park, we've had Jaws. This is Crouchfest part 3. It's happening November the 4th, Wembley Arena. You're invited, Wrighty. It's going to be the night of your life.
Yeah, it is. And, like the other Crouchfest, it's going to escalate. Every time we've done this, we've only done it twice, to be fair. It escalates, though. It goes up. We've had some of the best moments of our life doing Crouchfest, haven't we, mate?
We certainly have. I mean, we're going to have, last year, what was it? Kasabian, Paul Potts did Nessun Dorma, which I thought was spectacular. One of our listeners, Joel, did an incredible song about Mike Dean. There was lots of fancy dress. There was a garage set.
Yeah, there was a garage set. That's right, mate.
The old school garage flavour.
We crossed over to the Samrat at several points. So basically, if you're a fan of this podcast, you'll know all about Crouchfest. It's going to be at Wembley Arena, November the 4th. We need help with the promo for this, though, as always. We need you guys to get involved and spread the word about this because we want to build the excitement. But also we just want it to be as good as last year and have loads of you there. So November the 4th is the date. Crouchy, you've done your bit already. You've recorded a song to promote this. I kind of walked in and you had headphones on and the curtains were drawn here and you were busy. You look quite hyped, but you were busy.
Well, I was hyped because I actually asked Abby's brother John, right, musician. He created this tune for me, which I'm all over. And I said, do you know what I want to use? Can I use that? And he's allowed us to use it. I've put a little bit of stuff over the top. And I thought, let's get it out there. Tickets on sale now.
This is a big deal.
The song will be out on socials, but we've got to play a little bit now. We've got to get a little clip of it in. It's good. It's the kind of thing we're after. Here's Crouchy.
Jaws, The Godfather, Jurassic Park. Unbelievable trilogies. You've seen nothing yet. Crouchfest 3, the trilogy, November 4th. Chumba fucking Wumba. Just one thing I've been meaning to ask you, Chris, has there been an update from Luke and with the Lukas Enrique nightclub experience?
Yes, okay. Right, so this needs explaining as well.
Apologies, Ray.
We acquired Lukas Enrique's shoes. They're like Gucci shoes, very flash. They're silver. They look amazing. And one lucky listener to this podcast, in this case Luke, is going to wear them on a night out. But they're also going to wear some white trousers that he's going to provide. And we're going to give him a Ted Lasso top that we got all signed up when we interviewed Ted Lasso. So, big news is he's got his big night out in Torquey. It's happening on the 24th of June. So, in a few days' time, we've arranged for him to have a VIP experience. And Park Lane, which is the club, have arranged for a few girls to come in and lust over him, which is what they're describing as the full Enrique. Now, I think we should distance ourselves at this point. Like, all we said was, I think if he's in some sort of red roped bit, that will be enough.
I think it'll
People
happen
will come
anyway,
us.
to be
I don't
honest.
think we should provide,
No,
just as a point for everyone involved in this podcast. I
We'd
don't
like to
think we
distance ourselves from the providing of ladies.
Yeah. And we probably shouldn't encourage the nightclub to do that either.
Yeah, but it'll happen. It'll happen organically because he's gone as Lukas Enrique.
But what we do want is a Torquey-based PAP. We said this in the last podcast, so please let us know if you're a PAP based in Torquay and want to take some pictures of our Luke dressed up doing his full Lukas Enrique experience, then please let us know. peter.crouch@acast.com.
Yeah, and if you are in the Park Lane nightclub on the Torquay on the 24th, please just leave Enrique alone. I know he'll be a big celebrity that night, but he's gone full Enrique. Don't bother him.
Do you think, though, we would like to see some of the footage from the night? A bit like, you know how we've seen Grealish out celebrating of late? It would be nice to have a bit of that.
Yeah, feel free to film him.
Yeah.
Just don't bother him.
Yeah.
Right, I got a message here from Jamie. Wrighty, do you fancy reading that one?
I'll give it a go. Why not? My Sunday league team has 2 players called Henry. One of them has a surname called Branston. So we now have nicknamed him Pickle to make his life easier.
Oh, nice.
Pickle.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, that's good.
I get it. It's not. It's you wouldn't want to be called out on the pitch, though, would
Pickle.
you? Yeah, Pickle.
He would. I would.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was someone's nickname, I'd use it.
What's your nickname?
Some of my mates used to call me Little Legs.
Little Legs.
Wow. Do you remember the meme went everywhere? When I think you were coming off when I was coming on.
Every time,
Every
wasn't it?
time I see that so much, that picture of me and you coming on for England. Like I'm coming on and he's coming off, and obviously I'm shaking his hand. And like I can see it everywhere, do you?
Yeah, it was just one of those things. It got to the point where I actually thought they was doing it on purpose because it was just too random that every sub that was made of England, I was coming on the pitch for Crouchy.
Yeah, it was one or the other. I was coming off.
Who was that under?
Don't know.
Sven, I think it might have been
Sven.
maybe.
But like I just knew, like I was thinking, like we needed to start doing a thing where he went off. You know, like these days they go off the other side, so you don't have to shake hands and that. It's just like, well done, right? Have a good game, mate.
Sven's got a bit of banter, isn't he, about him? So I don't know whether he's doing it on purpose as well. You never know.
Well, just laughing to
I
himself.
think he'd have that in the locker, a little snigger going, Crouchy. SWP.
Is it like he was called Little Legs? Can you imagine? Like, I was obviously the exact opposite. I mean.
Yeah.
Right, we talked about Mavericks on the last pod, and I was thinking like kind of Di Canio, Eric Cantona. We mentioned a load of kind of Mavericks. Like, who was the biggest kind of Maverick you played with? I'm thinking at that time when you were at City, you had Ali Benarbia, or you had that kind of player. Oh, Berkovic.
He wasn't really. I wouldn't say I was really a Maverick. I think he's more of a Maverick now. After seeing him on the weekend, than he most probably was.
Oh, really?
Seriously.
Oh, really? Oh, he's lost it. He's gone full Abraham.
No, do you know what? I'd most probably give it to Robinho,
Robinho.
Yeah.
What was he like?
He was just pretty much just did what he wanted. I remember there was a time that Mark Hughes basically shouted to them, get back and like help defend. And he said, no, I need to save my energy going forward. And then just carried on walking like...
What, flat refuse?
Yeah, while he was
While
walking.
the game's going on,
Wow. It's happened a lot to Sparky, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'd say Marko Arnautovic comes into that one, aren't he?
He has.
Do you remember he used to get a car, didn't he? He used to have a driver. He was driving from Manchester to Stoke. And the roadworks was on, like the 50 mile an hour roadworks. And he was just bobbing past. He'd be in the outside lane going, phew. And we get to the training ground and I go, but Arnie, like, you can't do that on the motorway. Well, what do you say? I care not for this man.
No, that was
The
it.
driver. Obviously, he doesn't care. He's in the back, so he's not getting the points. It's his chauffeur. He's like, I care not for this man.
I care not for this man.
Unbelievable. I said, we were all going, you're going to get a ticket and all that. And he said, this is my driver. And I said, yeah, but you said, I care not for this man. I was like, wow. Oh, shout.
With Mark Hughes there, what would happen in that situation? Would he substitute a player, or did he just sort of back down? Or
it wasn't really a situation where he kind of had a way to back down, or it's not he did or it's not he didn't. I think the way the game was going at that particular time, we kind of had enough to get away with it because me, Alano and Stevie Island would just do basically
Do
all
his
the
work.
running. So we kind of found a balance, and plus we was playing on the breaks then as well, so we was normally sat back. But to be fair to Hughesy, I found him actually a good manager at sea. I never understood why he even got the sack, and I most probably still don't to this day, but it happened and we was all in shock. But Robinho would just be hard to deal with anybody. I think Adel Tarab was the same. When I got to QPR, like he used to have Haribos and pizza for pre-match, and I used to say to him, "Dude, that is not normal." Like, but that's just. And he was just so used to doing that in the Championship, and he smashed it. So it's like, why should I change? But that catches up on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, he did with him as well.
Yeah.
But to be fair, then he went to Benfica and started
he's
doing
been
okay,
flying.
didn't he, to be fair. But, I was thinking about that Man City team there. I think Robinho was the first one I felt where it was like he was at Real Madrid and it was like, obviously the new owners come in. It was like, for me, it felt like he was the first one of like, bang, we arrived.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But when they said it to us, we all just looked at each other and just to say like, yeah, don't take the piss, mate. Like, why is he going to come to us? We haven't got anywhere yet at the minute. We was just, like you said, just starting, but showed up. And to be fair, he was all in. Some of the things I used to see him doing training, I used to just laugh.
Brilliant.
Like, he was
he
unbelievable,
really?
yeah. Technically on the ball is scary. Never used to warm up properly.
Never
anything.
warmed up.
Not really. His warm up was in the change room with like Brazilian house music playing, and him and Alana were doing kick ups with the ball, and just it was a nice atmosphere to see.
Love to be able to do that. Just turn on and off like a tap. Something like Pennant was one, wasn't he? He used to go out with his laces undone and just chilled, but Mavericks.
Yeah.
That is it. That
When
is a
he
Maverick.
arrived, what was it like when he arrived? Because as you're saying, Crouchy, it was like this big signing, wasn't it? And this big sort of status around it. Was he? Was it sort of nice car into the training ground? Was there smoke when he arrived? Like, what was it like?
I've been watching too much action movies. No, it's just normal. He just came into the training ground because I think then we were still at Carrington, so the new training ground didn't exist. So that the pictures were good there, but the actual facility itself was quite basic in terms of where they are now. But he just came in and he was just all chilled, and Alana was there, so he helped him with like the English barrier and stuff like that. And then after that, he was almost like one of the boys, but they have to give it to those Brazilians. They did throw some parties. In Manchester.
It's a different city, that though, isn't it? It's funny to think about when you think about the comparisons between City as we know them now and City then. And that was sort of the first roots of some of these signings that were coming in, but it was a different financial situation there as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, completely different. But the club in general is still the exact same. There's so many people that were there when I was there the first time to now, and there's so many people that came when I came back the second time that are still there. It still all has all its foundations. It's just global now. Its reach is global.
Can I just ask you about, like, obviously, being at City in the first place? Like, how does that come about, right? And what age were you?
The timing weren't great, was it? I remember speaking to you when you signed, because we was at Chelsea together and I went to Villa and he went to City. And I was like, mate, buzzing for the move, brilliant. And it weren't long after that the actual takeover happened.
Yeah.
And he was like,
A day later.
I'm fucked.
So you went there to play?
Yeah, right. So I went there to play more, but I think when it all happened, I didn't really think about that. Because when I left the first time, I said, look, before I retire, I'm going to come back and have one more spell. Because I didn't get a chance to make the decision to leave. I just kind of got pushed into it, sort of thing. So said I'll go back, and then offer came in. I was like, yes, let's go, let's do this. I'm going to play more football. A day later, they just bought the club, and then it was just back into another whirlwind. And then that rumour was going around. It just seemed to happen that Shaun just goes to everywhere that gets taken over. so I knew.
To be fair, I wasn't really. Obviously, we'll come to that bit. But I was thinking first time round.
Yeah.
Like, how old are you when you go to City in the first place?
I was 16, but I was at Nottingham Forest, wasn't I, with like JJ and Dawson and everybody.
So how does that come about? And then
You're a
obviously,
City fan?
I am now, from when I signed when I was younger. So I was playing in a tournament, the same tournament Joe Cole was playing in, to be fair, in North London somewhere. And there was a scout there, Marlon Harewood's agent, Kieran Rafferty was. And he scouted me to go to Forest. Went up there, got all the way to like YTS. That was a year that they just stopped cleaning boots. But for my work experience, I was cleaning boots. So I did that a bit too early. But when we got there, and then I was on the way back home, after them saying to me and my mum, right, we're going to sign him, give him the contract. They just phoned us on the phone and basically said, too small, not good enough. So like within 24 hours, that same scout called me and said, Man City want to take you. they said they want to have you on trial for a week. So I went and did a trial for a week, and they said, we want to keep you. And then it just, from that moment there was a little bit of a stall, I think because of my height, but a lot of the other players got moved to the reserves. And then after I played a few games in the reserve, I kind of just went. Yeah. Like,
do you know the height issue? Like, were you like a lot smaller then as well? Like,
Crouch, I haven't grown much now. So.
No, I know. But were you smaller than you are now?
What are you asking? Was at some point Shaun Wright Phillips tall compared to other kids, but they all caught up?
People are like saying, you know, because you're too small and too small, but like, you know, they'd expect you to grow, don't they?
Yeah, I definitely haven't grown.
No.
So do you mean the football club? I'm interested to know what, like, are you saying, did the football club sign it expecting him to grow?
No, they said that Nottingham Forest, he was too small, right?
Right.
So he got released and went to City, but they took a chance on him.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I don't know, it's like when you're younger, you'd expect to grow. Yeah. I know it didn't happen a lot, but you would expect, you know what I mean? So I don't know why they would...
Yeah.
Release you because of that. You obviously had talent. Because I remember I've got City fan a lot. My mum's side of the family are City fans, and obviously they remember you coming through. And when you first broke into that first team, then like you were their favourite player. You know, it felt like you were, you know, sort of like the fan kind of. The way you played the game was like resonates with the fans, doesn't it? You know, you gave everything every week. You had ability. You were scoring goals. And it was, I mean, when you broke into the City, it was brilliant for you, right?
It was, but the first year was the hardest year. I didn't score for a full season, did I?
Did you not?
No. Hit the post, keeper saved it. Obviously went wide a lot as well. But it just wasn't going in the back of the net. My first goal was away at the Den, and none of the fans were allowed to be there. So the City fans were banned for that game, yeah.
And who were you playing with at that time, and who was the manager?
Kevin Keegan. Yeah. Joe Roll brought me through though. Joe Roll was, I think he was...
God, you were there early, weren't you?
Yeah.
Joe Royal.
Yeah, it was me and another kid called Chris Shuka, and he used to call us like, we used to call him Weasel, and Joe Roll named me the Pocket Rocket.
Yeah.
Pocket Rocket.
Yes, I remember that nickname. And then with Keegan, how did you find working with him? Because am I right in thinking there was a perception change with you under Keegan?
It was very interesting for a man that is quite small himself to tell me that I wasn't big enough to play in the system he wanted me to play in when he first came. Was quite weird. I didn't understand it because I was like, well, you kind of played when the game was more physical than it is now, and you're not that much taller than me, so kind of what was the difference?
But does he think he's taller than he is? That's a lot. You know, I'm not very tall myself, and you do try and claim you're taller than you are, don't you?
Are you?
Well, I do.
You still?
I don't as much anymore. But I'm about 5'8", 5'9", and you know.
Well, Joe Cole tells me that's the national average. He goes 5'9.5". It's the national. I'm above the.
It's
national
always
average.
half. When you're my size, every half counts.
Yeah. Hey, every half counts everywhere.
I know, mate.
I always round mine down.
Yeah. But Keegan, it was interesting then because he was quite, you know, he was relatively short himself.
Yeah.
So did you feel he wasn't empathetic to the fact that you can be a fucking phenomenal footballer and not necessarily needs the height?
I would honestly say I don't think he was. I think the fact that he was playing wing backs at the time, I don't think helped that decision become any easier for him to play me because obviously he wanted big people for if the ball comes over the back. So, but when he played me there after that, then it kind of just kicked on again.
But that was your strength, wasn't it? I remember playing against you, obviously growing up and then playing with you, and like when you were playing against him, you'd tackle him and he'd do like a little tumble roll, like Sonic the Hedgehog. He'll do like tumble roll, tuck and roll, and then come out with the ball. You're like, how's he done that? He's like, he literally just comes out of it the whole time. It's like ridiculous.
Is it that lower sense of gravity with it?
No, do you know what? I used to, some people call it Wembley. We call it FA Cup. Yeah. So when I was growing up, me and my brother, Bradley shot up after, but we wasn't the biggest, and we used to play with people that were like 19 and 20 when we was only like 14 and 50. And if you was playing solos, the only way for you to get to the next round was to get that ball in the back of the net, and you get a longer rest because you're one of the first out. So we're so used to just being kicked around, just learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Is that like growing up on an estate?
Yeah.
Where'd you go out, Ryan?
Brockley, Turnham Road.
Did you think that shaped you as well for your career?
100%. Yeah. Some of the guys I see now when we go to family events, and I'm like, thank you. You taught me how to take tackles.
Well, the boys used to kick you about.
They used to just, even if the ball weren't there, they used to just swipe our legs from underneath us.
Yeah, because you were good at that. Like, you were good at riding tackles. Like, people used to come for you and used to ride tackles really well, like bounce up. It never affected you, did it?
It's just one thing, innit? It was when you set your mind to something, put all my eggs in one basket when I got to secondary school, didn't I? Didn't really focus too much on education. It was just all football.
But you know what? Like, I was thinking of that time, that Man City team there, like, quite kind of like the I want to say British, because I'm thinking of like Stephen Ireland, Joey Barton, and you. Like, were the ones who came through. Like, at times, kind of held it together. I thought.
Yeah, they were. Stevie Ireland was amazing to play with. Joey, for me, especially in the first spell there, I think personally he was underrated.
He was brilliant at City at that time.
I think he was personally underrated. I think he got a bit too cocky with it as the bigger he got in respects of doing something different that he was doing when he first got there, because before he would just break down play, get his legs stuck in and give you the ball. And that's, as a winger, that's what you want. The quicker you get the ball, the more space you have to help your strikers get crosses in and stuff. So he used to do that all the time. I scored so many goals playing with him and Stevie.
That was my career. Get it and give it to the good players.
You know, when you signed for City, what was that like as an experience and joining that club? And do you get greeted by the Gallagher brothers? And like, how does it work? What's the benefits that come from signing for City?
Fans. Yeah, I think like only recently you've heard them like boo and jeer, but when they got relegated to Division 2, they've sold out tickets all the way up, and they always will do, and they're just loyal. Unless they're spoiled now because they're so used to City winning things, but they will always back their team. You very rarely see them giving certain players or singling out players to abuse, even if things ain't going right.
Have you seen a slight change though? Like I remember obviously the Gillingham game. Like I say, I know some City fans, and that it was almost some of them actually preferred it being down there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like. Like now, obviously, it's all coming very easy, and you know they're seeing the best football they've probably ever seen in their lives, or without doubt, the best football they've ever seen in their lives. Has the atmosphere changed? As like the difference between Main Road and the Etihad? Yeah,
well, the atmosphere is definitely different since Main Road. I think the difference is though, not just the fact that City is still successful. I think that ticket prices are so high now that all those fans that used to go week in, week out can't afford to go week in, week out. So you tend to see those fans travel to the away games, which are normally the noisiest of most clubs, apart from like Anfield. That's the only place that just still rocks when you go there. But that's what I think is more to do with. And then when you move stadiums, all the fans that used to sit together and make all the noise are now all scattered around, so they're not together. But it has its moments. Like,
I think you're right with ticket prices though. It's not actually something I think we've really talked about on this podcast much, but it feels funny to me that you can support a club and want them to do better and better and better, but then the byproduct of a club doing better and better is they move up through the leagues, the ticket prices get more expensive, and it's harder to get tickets. So it almost feels like, should be like stocks and shares. If you come in at a club at a certain point, that's your ticket price moving forward with a bit of inflation or whatever. You've supported the club to get them to that stage. You should benefit when they do get
My only worry there is sharks buying tickets everywhere at certain prices. You know what I mean? And then when City get bought, you go, give us double what I paid. That kind of thing.
It just would be such a shame that as a fan, you don't benefit in kind for the success that a club can have, or like what happened with City and how they have got to where they are.
All right, well, let's move it on a little bit, right? So you go to Chelsea, okay? And do you link up with this man here? Yeah. How was that? How was he? Before I ask you about Mourinho.
Why is he laughing?
Before I ask you about Mourinho and Lampard and Terry and that, I'm asking you about the Notorious S.I.D. What was he like at Chelsea?
Amazing. It was like when we both got there, effectively we knew some people but not properly, but to get there and like it was just all warm, innit? It was almost like instant. You just walk in and just all family straight away. Everybody was welcoming, and made it very easy for me to settle in.
Felt like you had a good group there a little bit. Like I'm thinking of like Sid, Bridgie, yourself. Like it felt like you were knocking about with Bridgie quite a bit, right?
Wow. Was an amazing group. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, every time I saw Bridgie, you were there, and I felt like they were tight. Am I right?
Yeah, no, we were very close, to be fair. We used to always go on holidays together as well.
Yeah.
Till obviously he settled down. I'm still.
Yeah.
You're still going on holiday?
Yeah.
No,
Peter Pan.
But yeah, it was cool, man. It was really good.
Yeah.
And the group was perfect as well, because no matter how hard we worked, we always found time to play and to spend time with each other, bonding.
It was a good squad, that, wasn't it?
It did look like a good group. Like I remember, because obviously where I live now, it's quite close to. And I remember always seeing you about, like dotted about, you lads. Look like a good group.
Some good nights out.
Yeah.
Well, let's begin. What was your favourite night out, Steve?
But you were winning things as well, right? Like, how was the football?
But I think that's what helped us win things. I think that because we never separated like the social side of it to the football side of it. So if we lost, we didn't punish ourselves as a team.
Yeah.
We would like kind of chill together. We might not go crazy, but we'll hang out, have a few, and then kind of disperse, and then you're just back in again. And some of the players obviously would go on for longer, but it was just everyone was always together, and that's what made us so strong, I think.
Yeah, I was the jinx, the number 9 shirt, wasn't it? Just when I got there, they didn't win anything. So didn't experience that one.
Did you feel when you joined Chelsea, was there anyone who particularly took you under their wing?
Everyone.
Yeah.
I think, everyone. That's what I mean. When I walked in there, it was easy, because at Arc City, I was quite quiet back then. I wasn't like as chatty as I am now. I was quite a reserved person, and they just made it so easy for me to settle in and just kind of just got on with it. And then because I knew some of them at England as well, that helped, made it better as well.
When I was when we was there, the year that I was there, so me, Wrighty and Bridgie, we got, and Didier got one, didn't he, as well? We all got Harleys.
Oh yeah,
Obviously.
Because I remember seeing you, like, I remember seeing them around like Cobham. I was like seeing them ping down the high street.
So you all went and bought them together?
So basically, you remember the story that I said about I got my dad a Harley?
Right?
So I got him one. So I thought, right, I can't let him get one and not me. But then I didn't want to ride a motorbike because I was only 24, yeah. So I bought a Harley, and then these boys got one literally just about a few months before me. But we added, so we made it into a trike. So we just put another wheel on the back.
That was it.
So because you can ride a trike with a car license. So we had a Harley converted into a trike.
Do you mean you all shared?
No. Loads of them. I see down the high street, I see trikes going everywhere. I go Bridgie, I go Wrighty, Sid.
And then some of the lads got quad bikes as well, because obviously Oxshot to Cobham to the training ground was nothing. So there was just people flying by. And Jose,
I used to live in the area at the time. I was like, what is going on?
Jose would come out, like, we go to training, and like, if it was in the summertime, and we'd all like drive in, and they'd all be parked up, because normally there's like whatever, Porsche and Mercedes and a Fiat. But then in the summertime, or the sun was out, everyone rode their quads and stuff in. And Jose would come out and he'd jump on the back, like, not riding it, but he'd jump on the back, like, with his clipboard under his arm, like, who's is this one, boys?
That's amazing. They were class.
It sounds like Grand Theft Auto. Just all these random vehicles going around.
Because it made it in the papers, didn't it?
Yeah.
All our quad bikes got caught in the paper.
I don't remember this.
Do you know when that was? That was like the week before the Champions League final against United in Moscow. And we come out the training ground and we went to Oxshot just to have some lunch. And then back to training. And then we got snapped. And I think Ashley went on the curb to go round someone. Not on the curb. You know, like when you just... No, I've said that wrong. You know when someone's turning right.
Ashley went on the curb to round up someone.
He's tried to cut in on the inside.
No. So someone's turning right, a car in front of him. You know, you just get past them, you go one tyre up the curb and down. It was legitimately one of them. And then there was a paparazzi there that caught us just going on the curb, and it was in the Sun newspaper, and there was silly quads. That was silly quads. Yeah, that was literally the headline. So, but those were regular days then.
What was your vehicle of choice? In this Mario Karts of Cobham that we're
I had a night rod, didn't I?
He had a serious trike. Serious trike. It was good.
Are you still into it now or not?
It's too cold here. It's better now in England than it was then. But by 3, we're driving from Cobham. By the time 3 o'clock comes and you're driving up the A3 and you can't press the brakes because your hands are too numb, I was like, all right, now I'm done.
Who knew, eh? Who knew? Is that something new for you, Chris?
I find it baffling, the idea of all these elite footballers driving around in all these different vehicles. But fair play, I guess it made good team spirit.
It's how I taught myself.
And Mourinho
on my
endorsed
driveway.
it, right?
Yeah, but I taught myself how to drive it on my driveway because couldn't go and get lessons or anything. So you just had to teach yourself the gears.
But did Mourinho encourage that kind of thing, which to me sounds like the kind of thing a manager wouldn't encourage because it would be unsafe or you'd get injured?
He didn't do either or.
Yeah.
Like he kind of it's almost like he just trusted us to not do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, we didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
but was that a good trait in Jose, do you think? Like there was an element of trust. There wasn't too much control by the sounds
He was
of it,
good with us with stuff like that. It was only like normally the night before the games where we started staying in hotels. Because I remember when I first got there, I was like, why don't you just tell me? I just wouldn't have bought a house. But I just lived at the training ground. Because literally, we was playing Saturday, Wednesday. We was in a hotel Friday night. Then come back Tuesday, you're back in a hotel. I was in a hotel more than I was in my own house.
Who are you rooming with?
No, we was on our own.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, everyone at Crouchy stories always involves another person that's had to share a room with.
Yeah, but that was at the start.
Early
At the
days,
start.
early days.
Oh, so
Slightly older,
by
aren't
this point,
Yeah,
by this point, you're given your own room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's standard now. Everyone gets their own room.
This next section of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at Brewdog. So, as you can see, Shaun, we're sat in Brewdog Waterloo. It's our new home. And we've got some pints of Punk IPA on the go. And this has led us to ask Crouchy and everyone listening over the last couple of weeks for their favourite punk footballers that they've ever come across. It's been like a topic that we've been doing on the pod. So we thought we'd play a little game with you. We want you to name your dream punk five-a-side team. We're talking about the most maverick, unpredictable, unconventional players that you've ever played with or against. So these are the players that have a real disregard for doing things how you'd expect, with potentially glorious or disastrous consequences.
I can come up with one.
Go on.
As that. Paul Bosvelt.
Oh, big day.
Boss.
Paul Bosvelt.
Yeah,
From
just
personal experience.
But you come up with that really, really quickly.
yeah, because just the way the punked. He had the long hair. He had that attitude where he just kind of did what he wanted on the pitch, and he had the vibe to him, innit? Like,
What was he
had
like
that
off the pitch?
Amazing guy, but
Oh, great guy.
yeah.
Was he?
He would have been perfect in our little.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like I know, but like in that punk footballer kind of thing, like Joey Barton was brilliant in that time at City, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
but
was.
he kind of got a bad rep, kind of off the pitch. Like, now what was he? What was he like with you? Like, how did you find him?
we're still good mates to this day. We still speak. I just know him because we used to room together when I was like 17, 18. So I know how to deal with him. And I've always stood up for myself. So if he had kicked me, I'd just say like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And then say, sorry, righty lad. And then he would just run on his way. Most probably do it to somebody else.
Did he go round kicking people, yeah? Did he go round?
I wouldn't say he deliberately did it, especially in my time there. He was trying to go for the ball, but he can't do anything half-heartedly. So for Joey, it's either he does it or he just don't do it, period. So he played the way he trained, basically. If he would just tackle you normally. So I just knew to stay out of the way. Like if I know he's coming for me, just 2 touches and the ball's gone.
Did you say you used to room with him as well?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What was it? Was he a bit maverick in that sense as well? Crouchy told us great stories of, it was Robbie Fowler who like hid up in the cupboards. Or
Yeah. There was no need for it. You know, Rafa was checking if we were in bed, and Rafa's walked in and the door's there, but the cupboard is above him, and Robbie's in the cupboard, right? But he could have just been in bed. For some reason, he got in the cupboard because he thought it'd be funny. And I'll be honest with you, it was fucking funny. But there was no need for it whatsoever. But yeah, it was brilliant. I don't even know how you got up there.
Didn't you look at him? You're talking to the manager and he's just doing
he's
his
going,
finger on his lip. So.
like, don't let Rafa know I'm in it. And I was like, well, you could have just been in bed and he would have gone, yep, both in bed.
Amazing.
He's in the cupboard. But no, nothing like that. Quite sensible.
Who, Joey?
Yeah.
He's a bit, when we first started rooming together, we had like an arrangement. I would come with like say the PlayStation at the time or the whatever console it was, and he always had his laptop. He was playing Championship Manager, and there was a time I came back to the room and like he had the TV to himself and he was playing Championship Manager. So I looked at him and said, "What the fuck am I gonna do?" I said, "You can't have both, bro. You got to pick one or the other," sort of thing. And he said, "All right, I'm just not used to rooming with anybody. I've never like done this before. It's normally family members." So I was like, "It's all good, but this is how it starts. You can't have both." And it's left it like that. And we've got like a house on fire ever since.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
So basically, your five-a-side team would be 5 of the same player.
Yes.
That's what we're going with.
Yes, exactly
Okay,
that.
cool. Why not? Well, that's Shaun's team. Might take some beating.
It's quite punk that you can't be asked to think of 5. I'm into it.
We have had some sent in from listeners, though. These are good. So this one's name is, this is from Connor. Name of the team, Brew Let the Dogs Out.
Oh.
Talk us through that lineup,
Well,
Crouchy.
it's an absolute belting name for starters. Brew Let the Dogs Out. GK, René Higuita.
Oh,
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Arturo Vidal, Marek Hamzik, Raul Morales, and Danny Osvaldo. Manager Gareth Ainsworth.
Gareth Ainsworth, a great shout
foreign.
for...
I don't know if Gareth Ainsworth kind of speaks sort of, Portuguese, Spanish, but good luck with that one, Gareth.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a big one for more Sunday league because professionals need to be a little bit professional, right? But the Sunday league ones, they can rock up at 5 minutes before kickoff, get out of the car,
Mavericks.
one sock, like getting ready, fag, probably a condom still on for the night before. Do you know what I mean? There's your punked player right there.
There he is.
That's what we're looking for.
René
Really, isn't
Higuita's a one though. René Higuita, like the scorpion kick's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like remember he used to come out and just dribble past people and like try and take free kicks and penalties. What a man!
How about this one from Stephen? It's called Piss Off Carl. You can see where he's going from this very quickly. The manager's called Carl Robinson.
Yeah.
And then talk us through the team.
I think we know where this is going. The goalkeeper's Carl Darlow. The midfielder's Carl Henry. Attacking midfielder Carl Toko Akambi. Striker Carl Jesper Carlson. Carl Jesper Carlson. He's got to be skipper. Karl Heinz Rummenigge up top as well with him. Yeah, I mean yeah.
Yeah, nice.
A lot
Team
of
of
Carls.
Carls.
Lot of Carls there. Team of Carls.
Okay, this one from Josh. So what he's done with this whole thing is he's gone for players who like punk music. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Or who he
Yeah.
thinks likes punk music. So he's gone goalkeeper De Gea, 2 defenders, Terry Butcher and Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And then he's got Thomas Rositzky and Peter Crouch,
nice.
managed by Jurgen Klopp.
Oh, what a fucking! That's the winner, isn't it? Okay,
That is the winner
what a
so
team.
far.
What a team!
Yeah.
So I'll let you boys choose. Who do you think wins out of that? So we've got our kind of like punk lovers at the end from Josh. We've got Stephen with his team of Carls called Piss Off Carl. Or we've got Shaun Wright Phillips' team, of course.
Bosveld.
Bosveld. Team.
Or we got Connor's team, Brew Let the Dogs Out.
Well, it's a great name,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a great name.
It maybe should win for name alone, really, for this kind of
Should
thing.
do really.
That last team was awesome.
The team I felt was brilliant in the last one, but the Brew Let the Dogs Out is a.
Well, Notorious, what are you going with then? One you have to decide and vote.
I like the end one. That team.
like the end one?
Yeah.
Don't know if this might help with your decision here, Notorious. I forgot to say the team name of the last one.
Yeah.
VAR Halen.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Done.
Yeah?
Job done.
We all agreed?
Yeah.
48.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
48
That is a
punk
winner.
IPAs.
That is
a
a
good
winner
one.
there. What do they get?
48 punk IPAs
Yeah.
on their en route.
Yeah.
VAR Halen.
Wow.
What a team. Who's the fella?
Josh
Josh.
Parsons, who
Brilliant.
sent that in on Twitter. Well done, Josh. We're going to get 48 punk IPAs sent to you.
Well done,
Very
Josh.
good. So keep sending in your punk 5-a-side teams. You get the idea with this now. Well done to Josh. I think that might take some beating, mind, but feel free to give it a go. Email us peter.crouch@acast.com. So before we end this bit, there's one thing that we thought would be useful to remind you guys of. We're going to be holding an event here at Brewdog Waterloo, which is where we record the podcast. It's going to be at the end of June, and we're going to do a punk pub quiz. And it's all kind of in celebration of the Mighty Punk IPA. And we want you lot to come down here and have some fun with us. The only thing is, you have to be quick about it, as entries to win tickets is going to end on June the 21st. The day this podcast is released. So the second you hear this podcast, if you're quick enough, you have a chance to enter. Well done if you are one of the people who's pressed play as soon as this episode drops. Think of it as like a little reward for doing so. Everyone else, too slow. Really sorry about that, but we are going to do more events over the summer, so there'll be plenty more chances to come and have a beer with us down here. So, to be entered into this draw for a pair of tickets, I am aware there's a bit of admin around all this, so listen very carefully. All you need to do is go to brewdog.com/crouch, and if you go on that website, order some beer, you're going to be entered into the draw. It's as simple as that.
How do you reflect on your time at Chelsea? Like, do you, who was the best player you played with at that time? Like, what was your best moment in the Chelsea shirt?
You know, I'd have to say winning the Premier League and winning the FA Cup, because you don't really get to achieve those things. Is no matter what team you're at, unless you're at like a City at the minute, it's very rare that you're going to keep winning medals. But to be in those positions to play there, and I remember the FA Cup clearly, because I remember Mourinho coming up to me on the Thursday and saying, right, you're going to start, you and Paolo are going to start on the right-hand side, and we need you to stop Ronaldo. He said, I know you can attack, but I know you can defend as well, so... You just need to help Paolo stop Ronaldo, and that's what we did. We ended up winning the game 1-0. So
you were good at that defensively. How good was he defensively?
So good.
One of those players, you just like, I don't know what could get past him. Like, honestly, I'd back you against Ronaldo.
But they'd assign two of you against him then.
Well, you kind of had to. I thought Ronaldo at that time, it would have been unfair to leave, as good as he is, to leave a fullback on his own with him, because you never knew which way he was going to go, and he was as good at shooting with his left foot and his right was pretty much the same. So we wanted to win the game, and sometimes you have to sacrifice for your team.
Yes, that's interesting. So you've got the secret to how to neutralise Ronaldo.
No, Coley did.
So Coley weren't there then, was he?
Actually was, but I don't know if he played.
They weren't.
Was that just Bridgie?
2007. You won the first one at Wembley, yeah?
Yeah, but who?
Yeah. No, he come in the January after.
Was Bridgie fit to play, or who played
Don't
left
know.
back?
To be fair, Ash,
It's unbelievable.
he had Ronaldo.
Yeah,
And not that he needed to, but he'd it's probably pretty standard now, but he would, on the way to games, get the iPad, and the analysis would clip all of Ronaldo's like bits, and he would just know
Everything.
from his movements where he was going to go. He had him on toast every time, didn't he?
yeah.
Ash?
So Ashley would
Every time.
Ashley Cole would do a lot of research.
Yeah.
So I've never heard this about his game.
Yeah, he'd be on the coach on the way to the games, again, whether it was at Old Trafford or at Chelsea, against Ronaldo, he'd be watching an iPad just purely on Ronaldo. Just whether on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, when he comes in, when he shifts out, when he goes to fake to shoot, when he does a step over. So he would know what his little not weaknesses were, but what his sort of giveaway tips were before he'd do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's why I actually marked him out
I
the
just
game.
never had him down as the sort of slightly more swatty type.
Loves it now. See him now. All he wants to talk about now is like sessions, session planning. Like he's a coach, isn't he? Like all he wants to talk about, like you go out for a beer with him, and it's like, look at my session. Like, what do you think of my session tomorrow?
That's true story.
Isn't that interesting though? You see these traits as a player that then bleed into their coaching or managing. You know, you see it like the things that they sort of enjoyed or the way they went about their game, and then what they can be like as a coach or a manager and sort of impose on others.
You know, like I've seen like even Titus. I would never call Titus Bramble as being the coach, right? And then I did my coaching badges with him, and he was already coaching. He had the 2 balls under the arm, the whistle, like a stopwatch. I was like, this kid knows what he's doing. Like, and his sessions were good, really good.
Them coaching sessions didn't last long for you,
No,
did
they
it?
didn't really, no. I realised I could dick about in the pub for hours.
Right, what was it like playing against Crouchy?
It was weird because I grew up, in the same era as these lot, but if you have a big man on the pitch, normally it's to fight header. I think people underestimate how good he was with his feet.
Yeah.
And he had the niche. I think he's the only person I've seen do it, even to this day, where you think he's going to header it, and then he just takes it on his chest and just pulls it down. But people either come through him or back off. If you back off him, he destroys you. And if you go through him through the back to jump up, he just takes it down on his chest. And
So
like,
what did
unbelievable.
managers say to you in sort of taking him on or other teammates?
The managers that I've had, they always try to put somebody in front, so he was kind of in between.
I used to hate that.
I was a designated.
It's nothing worse than the one on your toes in front.
I was a designated like passenger, just going to stand on his toes. Oh, right, okay.
That
Get
was-
to him. Oh, sorry, mate.
Nothing worse.
And you'd always know it was being
Well, you
done
know,
on
it's
purpose.
been like bizarrely, there's like from like long balls from like, you know, the keeper or the centre half, you know, you just drop it over the midfield, take the press out, and then we just play from there. I just take it on my chest and we play from higher up. And that was like, I loved doing that for years. And then when managers started putting someone in front of me, and then so I'd have a defender right up my arse and one in front like that, and I'd be like, oh, like, I might as well not be here, you know?
Would you literally stand on his foot as well?
You
Try and stop the
literally
jump?
on his toes, yeah. On
As
his
the ball's
toes.
coming in,
It's
you just
horrible.
Yeah.
step
Horrible,
back
Yeah,
and
just
yeah.
like go back as much, and he's obviously pushing you, and you're like, yeah.
But then if you do manage to get like the push off and like back into the other, you then got 5 yards to work
Yeah.
with, you know. So that is either that one like pushing off, or just try and like take them one way and get to the side to get some time on the ball.
And because they're on your feet, they're unbalanced the second that you do get them
And
off.
then it's
Yeah.
like obviously you can take it one way or the other, like away from the defender. So you can still get in the game, but it's just not as nice. You know, it's much easier when no one's
Yeah.
there in front of me.
I just really like hearing what respective managers would have done, you know, in, let's say, Chelsea, Liverpool, to deal with Crouchy. I don't think we've ever actually asked that question from the other side, like how it was dealing with him. But basically, stand on his feet. And
Do you know what Frank Skinner said
Go
once?
close
Do you know what
behind.
Frank Skinner said on because I used to listen to Absolute Radio, and he has the show, and I like Frank Skinner, he's funny. And he said once that he reckoned going into attack with me would be like throwing 3 bicycles at you. No, all them sharp. He said it'd be like if you went into attack with him, it'd be like someone threw a load of bicycles at you.
To be fair, he has got pointy elbows.
Yeah. So
He
pointy.
has seen.
They are so
He
pointy.
has seen some people off
Mate.
with them elbows.
There's been some doogles.
Unintentionally as well, I would say. But
They should go through the scanner on their own in the airport.
They're a weapon.
Like, they are. They're so pointy.
well, look, we've previously talked with Idris Elba about how to hijack a plane. And are you saying you could take one down
I
with
reckon
your elbows?
if someone came at me, right, I could go this way, I could go that way. You know, I could. They're like knives.
to be fair, his elbows, them little bobbly bits, I've got.
Have you
I've,
ever seen them?
I've got 'em.
Look at that bubbly bit there.
I've got these on the side of my knees as well. So, to give you a visual, do you remember the film Grease? You know when they do the car chase, no, the race. Sorry, the race. You know the spiky bits that come off, and they do the car.
When you're running alongside.
That's on the side of my knees.
They open them out like James Bond and just flatten the tyre. That one.
Them people running into these little knobbly bits there. That's seen a few
Game
off.
over. Game over.
How was it with... See, my perception as a fan of Didier Drogba is there was a point in time where he was just unstoppable. And playing alongside him, what was that like? And did he sort of insist on things that you needed to do to kind of make him as prolific as he was?
His winger's dream. I think even for an attacking midfielder, he made basically the number 9 what it is today. It's the first person I've seen do it single-handedly. Like, it's just dominate 4 players, the right back, the centre back, the other centre back, and the left back. Wherever he went, he just used to destroy them. And the only thing he said to me is just, when you get the ball at your feet, cross. Which is perfect for me because
Cross
I'd rather-
where?
in
Didn't
the
ma-
box.
didn't matter.
Yeah, but you know, like as a winger or a striker, you just look where the space is. But back then, you're taught areas. So if you get to the byline, it's normally cut back to the penalty spot or back post. But anything before that, I would say there's always a window between the goalkeeper and the centre backs. If you cross that ball early enough, it can be on the ground or in the air. It's going to be difficult for the defenders and difficult for the goalkeeper. And he used to just thrive on things like that.
Well, to be fair, Wrighty was a dream, though. To be fair, from Didier's point of view, I know how he feels. Obviously, I played with Wrighty with England, and I just know like he's gonna get it out, and it's coming in. You know, like I just know it's coming in from that right hand side. And there's so many players like that want to cut in and shoot, you know. But like for a striker, like a winger like Wright was perfect.
But did you find that strikers were quite... there's a perception I have of strikers, the way that Crouchy talks about. He's quite derogatory towards goalkeepers, for example. Was he ever quite patronising to wingers. Always drop air for patronising. In
They're
going,
your supply line. You can't
you had to-
survive without them.
so you
It's
almost
like
had
you're
to-
cutting off your air.
you had to look after them. Almost, you treated them with maximum respect.
Oh, maximum, ultimate respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go out to my fullback and my winger no matter who I was playing against, and I'd be like, "How you feeling today, Simon?" And he'd be like, "Yeah," and I was like, "15." I was like, "Any chance you get, just get it in the box." Like just teasing them, like like when you say to your little girl or something, "No, I'll time you with get the remote and bring it back." Like, that one. Any chance you get, just a thought, just get it in that box. I'll get loads of glory, and then I'll go the other way.
Did you have an assist bonus in any of your contracts?
No. Didn't really think about things like that when I actually enjoyed assisting just as much as scoring.
Who was the best? Was he the best? Didier, the best,
Yeah.
to provide for.
Nick Anelka played a bit different in respect of he would rather it slid in between gaps and lines, whereas Didier wanted it, if possible, in and around the box area. But I would say for me, he was probably the best striker.
But he would make a half decent ball look amazing as well.
Yeah.
If it was just a couple of yards either side, he'd thrive on that because he used to love that contact as well.
Yeah.
So if he'd made a shit, basically what I'm saying is he'd make a shit player look half decent.
Would you, if you're favouring, did you like the way you talk about the differences between, say, Drogba and Anelka? If you're doing really well with one particular striker, did any of you have situations where the other striker would come and have a word and say, "Look, you keep playing to this player, or why is it not working with us?" and try and change your game slightly?
When I was at Chelsea, it was a bit different because we played with one striker.
Yeah, of course.
So we didn't really have to worry. City was first time was quite old school way of playing. So it was just 4-4-2. Everybody's on train tracks. Just basically, so they just had to make runs in the box. But no, not really. Of course, you have to learn at Chelsea because Shevchenko came in. So we needed to understand how he played. We had Hernan Crespo there as well. And they all play completely different. Hernan Crespo was just over 5 yards. His movement was scary. He never used to use his laces. He always used to just pass the ball in the net. No power, anything. He just guided everything, even with his head. So that, for me, you would determine how you put the ball in the box a bit different because he's not going for power. So you need to put a bit more power on it just so he can just angle it where he wants it to go.
Who inspired you as a player? Did you model your game on anyone that you grew up? Who would you say is the best winger?
I wouldn't say I modelled it off anybody, but I used to love watching Ryan Giggs growing up because him, Mark Overmars, Anders Limpar, because they just look like they just enjoy going past people. And when I used to sit down and watch them, I used to be on the edge of my seat, and in my head, that's what I wanted to do to fans as well.
But your dad must have been a bit of influence for you.
No, because I'm the same with my son and even my daughter that's playing. He just let us fall in love with the game ourselves, and I've done the same thing with my kids now. My daughter's addicted to football beyond belief.
Your daughter is, by the way, your daughter is an unbelievable footballer.
Crouchy is scary.
Have you seen
How old is she?
9.
Have you seen the video?
9.
2-footed.
Really?
Show the
2-footed?
video- show the video of this.
Right, do you mind if I play this video? Because I only saw this. I saw this doing the rounds on Twitter. I knew you were coming in and was like, "This is unbelievable."
Yeah.
It's
Really?
all natural.
Look at this.
Crouchy. It's weird.
Awesome.
What? Even the movements.
Now really turn.
Oh, she's only 9.
Future Lioness.
Wow.
Right?
1,000,000%.
Skipper.
Pension fund right
Watch
there.
this space. Pension fund.
Oh man.
Oh, that's impressive, mate. Well done. Good luck to her. Brilliant.
Are you like that in the garden, Pete?
Well,
Running
I
them
wish
drills.
I was. I genuinely would love to go out in the garden and get my kids doing that. But it's absolutely no interest at the minute. I've got 4 of them. I threw the net out wide, but no takers.
No, not yet, mate. Might come a bit later.
Well, listen, I think it will hopefully come later. The girls are a bit older; they're not that interested. Johnny's not that interested, but the baby's 4 now, and he seems to be a bit the most interested. But you know,
Still
you
young.
can't force it on them, can you?
No.
No.
I just want to ask you about America. Obviously, like your brother smashed it out there, right? He's like the
Yeah.
MLS top goal
All-time
scorer.
goal scorer, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like, how's he find that? I mean, he just went out there and did his own thing, and like absolutely crushed it out there.
Had a really tough road, didn't he, to start with, I think. There's a few unlucky moments, and then there was a few moments where he could have avoided it all himself just by being in a different place. So, but he's always been a goal scorer anyway, from Sunday League to the teams he's played at. And he did really well at Charlton. They got promoted, and then somehow all this politics got involved, and then he just wasn't starting anymore. So his agent's obviously Darren Dean with Thierry, and he just said to him, would you go out and play it in America? And he said, yeah, why not? Let's go for it. Let me try my luck somewhere else, sort of thing. First year, obviously, he's with Thierry. The year after that, because I played there and I've seen him play, you wouldn't say they play good football or create abundance of like chances, but the chances he did get or he did make for himself, he just put in the back of the net, just like if it was just easy.
Natural finisher.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
And then, so did you enjoy it out there?
Yeah, it was cool.
We went to Finland, right? We went to Finland. You were still living out there. I was
In
like,
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. I was like, so where you living now, right? He said, Arizona. What? Fair enough.
That's hot. You got
You
to
said you loved it, didn't you?
Arizona was unbelievable, especially the waste management tour.
Oh,
You lot
That's
need
on
to
our
experience.
bucket list. That's on our bucket
it's a
list.
golf tournament.
Is this the one that Niall was telling us about?
Yeah,
yeah.
They'll throw the stuff
like,
on them.
yeah, big crowds
Beer
and they're drinking
cans
out
and
shoes.
It's on the bucket
Yeah.
list, that one. We discussed it. Our local golf club. It's on our to-do list.
Is that going to be a work trip? Is it?
Work trip.
Yeah.
But it was weird how I got there, because obviously my contract had finished at QPR, and with my brother was getting married, and he phoned me before I come over and he said, like, we're trying to plan in our head. So we said, all right, when you come over, we're going to try and get you to train, and then hopefully we can get you to sign here so we can play together again. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. No intentions of it. We didn't even get that far. We just had that conversation. But when I went to do a charity thing in Guatemala, and then I was with Vaz, flew straight back to New Jersey. And then when I got to New Jersey, I said, where you going? He said, we're going to Houston. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go and watch the game. I'm not doing anything. So I got back on another flight to Houston, went to the stadium. He got us tickets and stuff, and we was just chilling. Then on the flight on the way back the next day, because I didn't know they fly like that, we just jumped on a flight, and then all the Red Bulls teams started walking on, and the managers and stuff. And Brad said the manager would love to talk to you when we get off the plane. I said, yeah, no problem. So we was walking down. He said, what do you think of the game? Just had a normal general chat about it. And he said, would you like to come in and train with us? I said, yeah, why not? I could do with keep fit, basically. And then that week went by, and he said, look, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay. We can't offer you a lot of money because the budget's all already taken up. I said, if I was playing here, it wouldn't be for the money anyway. I said, I would have gone elsewhere if that was the case. So he said, all right. I said, just to make sure you throw in a green card. He said, yep, sorted. And got a green card in 3 months and everything. And that, I didn't come back home literally after that point. I lost my phone. Didn't even bother getting a new English phone. Just went straight onto an American phone. And I just kind of just started again.
It's
and
a
just,
new life.
I just kind of just went with it. Just being honest.
Wow.
Yeah,
He's
just
an
kinda-
Englishman in New York. Whoa! I'm an idiot.
I went to watch a game there, and it was one of the coldest I've ever been at football. It was just bizarrely cold, and I think
In New York?
it was, yeah. And the other thing that I've got to say struck me was just some of the chants were a bit weird. Do you know what
I wouldn't go as far as like chance. I don't really. To them, what I found there is more of a social gathering.
Yeah.
Until you go to places like Portland and Seattle
yeah.
and Columbus, it's more social in it.
Yeah.
It's just family gathering because they don't have away fans.
So what great food though. On the ground. It's like the Philly cheesesteaks and things like that. Like it was
Corn dogs.
Oh, it was corn dog. Some decent footy scran, you know.
Yeah, so when I found out you were in Arizona, we were skiing Believe this. Yeah. Me and Shaun Wright Phillips skiing.
Is there any
It's a
pictures
sight
of
to
this
behold.
one? Is there, tell me there's pictures of this one.
Yeah,
please.
we've got footage.
Where's the paps there?
No, I got footage of it because they filmed it for like this thing I was doing. I jumped out of a plane with Jermaine Genius. I tightrope walked with Wayne Bridge, and me and Wrighty went skiing on this show.
Which you'd never been allowed to do,
We've
right?
never skied in our lives. He was good, right? This, you know, that kind of riding challenges, low center of gravity.
nimble.
He went down, but he was back up, kind of
yeah.
thing. Like, he was decent. I was useless, right? When I say useless, I was absolutely horrendous. Like, and I was trying to go down the little baby slope, weren't we? And I remember I was lying on my back. I thought, I'm giving up, and I could hear just the cable cars going over the top, and I just heard, "Don't give up, Crouchy!" from like a randomer. Do you remember that? Yeah. I was like, "Oh, come on, then." I'm going. It gave me some like bit more about me. I thought, I'm going to do this. So I tried my best again. Anyway, we had a race. We must have done it. We'd done about an hour lesson on the baby slopes. We've both never skied before. Then we went off the top deck. You got down actually, didn't you? Off the top. I struggled. There was points where I walked, points where I put them back on, and I was useless. Anyway, we had a race, and it was the best race I think you'll ever see. It beats the Olympics, hands down.
Wow.
So much happened.
I need to see this.
And it's down the baby slope, right? So it should. If you're a skier, I reckon it takes 5 seconds to get down, right? About a minute and a half, I reckon. He went out like flying ahead, didn't you? Do you remember? You were miles ahead. Then his ski came off, and then he like went too far, so he couldn't get back to get his ski on. So I thought, right, I've got him here. And I started going really, really slowly like that. Really slow. But then I went down going slowly, and by then he had his ski back on. Mate, so much happened. I will have to get it up on socials or something. It was unbelievable.
Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and reliving some of these memories. Is there anything you need to get off your chest before you go, or not?
Siddy, remember the time that Mourinho fly kicked the table in the changing room?
His mic, for context, his mic is literally falling apart. I've done it on purpose. Right, so Sids, do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
And you remember it? Like, I can't remember what game it was, but he was very, with Mourinho, you could never really tell straight away whether he was like angry or like happy. It would just change. And then we just walked into the change room and he was just walking all calm, came out of his office, just fly kicked all the drinks. Just everywhere in the first
We just
team.
booted him up and like, was it half time? Half time.
Yeah.
I was probably in the stand. I was probably in the stand watching.
Just dug everybody out.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the score at half time?
I think we was losing, but it wasn't the fact that we was losing. I think it was just more how bad we was playing. Yeah.
But listen, right, do you know what? It's always a pleasure. Whenever I see you, it's always a pleasure like catching
Likewise,
up.
man.
And I really appreciate you coming and doing this, mate.
Nice
Well,
one,
nice
actually.
one.
Appreciate it.